Good evening, good people. Thank you so much for tuning into the Check In with podcast. I am your gracious host, Calvin Anderson. Today, I have another special guest. She is a drama psychotherapist, and she is a therapy lead in a therapeutic school in London with children and adolescents with neurodiverse and SEMH needs. There's so much more I could say about this individual, but I'm going to allow her to walk us through her process and her journey. So everyone give a warm welcome to Vicki Hickling. Vicki, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Good. I did say your name correctly, right? Just to make sure.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, cool. So Vicki, we just want to walk through just so everyone or the listeners can get to know you a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Could you just introduce yourself, give us your background, your training, and who you are?
Yeah. So my name's Vicki. As you said, I'm based in London. I'm from London, and I am a drama psychotherapist and a therapy lead at a therapeutic school for children with neurodiverse needs, SEMH needs, trauma, and also children who have been removed from mainstream learning. So what that means is that they would have come to our school having had very challenging experiences in previous settings, and maybe felt like they hadn't got the sufficient support in their other schools. Um, so I do within the school is that I offer therapy, one-to-one therapy and some group work too, and also support the staff with kind of therapeutic support in that way. And some therapists, they kind of come in, they do their sessions and then they leave. That's not really how our school is. Ours is more, we are embedded into the school. We attend the meetings, we attend the briefings. People know who we are, and it really does help with creating a therapeutic school basically. So I work full time, and I manage a team which includes an occupational therapist, a speech and language therapist, and an assistant therapist as well. I'm also trained in EMDR therapy, which is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing therapy. And I also work privately part time as well. So yeah, got quite a bit on my plate, but I love what I do. So I love that I've got work. Really happy to just wake up in the morning and do the job. So I did a drama and theatre BA at the University of Hull nearly a decade ago now. I finished, and then I did my master's at Roehampton, and that's a 2-year full-time course. And I finished that in 2016. No, I didn't. I finished that in 2018. I started in 2016, finished in 2018. And now I'm here today, sitting on the podcast and telling you my story.
No, Vicki, thank you so much for that. I mean, that sounds like a very extensive line of work, especially doing EMDR, especially working in the school with children and neurodiverse children and working part-time. How do you manage that, and what makes, because I'm sure it's definitely fulfilling working with children, what do you put in place to make sure that you don't go through like burnout, or if it starts to get heavy, what do you do to lighten the load?
To be fair, I think I'm one of those personalities who does work well when I've got a lot of things to do. So before I had this job, I was kind of working a bit more part-time, and I think I find that more challenging than being fully immersed into whatever it could be called. Into the busyness. That would be a good word to call it. So for me, what I do is, as I said before, when I said I don't have my emails on my phone, I try to boundary something. So I don't have my work emails on my personal phone. That's one boundary I have. On the weekends, I do like to completely close my laptop. It's not always possible, but sometimes if I do open it, it's to help me prepare for the week. But I try my best to separate my personal and my professional, and they are two very separate lives, I feel, and I think that's also really important to have. But in terms of I've always been that type of person to take a lot of things on, but also enjoy it as well. So I'm not sure. Yeah, I think also in the week, I try not to do too many social plans in the week. I try to go to the gym, try to go into a routine, and then on the weekend is more of my social time. So kind of breaking things up to make sure I'm not overdoing it. It sounds like a lot, but when you work in a school, it is very intense. It is very fast paced, and I guess it's somewhere that I can manage, but it is hard. It's hard for the teachers. It's hard for everyone just in the education system, not just talking about where I work. I'm talking about the whole country. It's really, really tough, especially post-COVID. So knowing that I can be a part of supporting the challenges, I think is something that, does make me feel good. And seeing the shifts in the school and seeing the growth with the pupils, it's what I love to see and what keeps me, being there every day. And the holidays. The holidays are great because you do have, every 6 weeks there's a holiday coming up.
Yeah.
So that, I guess, for me, is such a positive. Like, doesn't matter what kind of week you've had, in X amount of weeks, I will have a break.
So having a strong routine, a good work-life balance, and enjoying what you do.
Definitely.
No, I like that, and I like how you implemented, in terms of the toughness and how it's been post-COVID, and being able to support everyone and support your peers and your colleagues, which is very admirable. So congrats to you and well done to you. I think that's telling on just your character and I guess your development as a therapist and as a person as well. So no, I'm very, very impressed with that, and I just love the community that you've built in your school and in your practice. I guess now that means, or should I say, I can now ask, why drama therapy? What made you decide to, or what should I say, or gravitate towards this particular modality?
So, growing up, loved drama, loved acting. I loved playing a role, being a character. I loved the feeling I got from, being in a show and seeing it kind of all pay off, and it was a really good creative outlet. And it doesn't require, drama doesn't require, it just requires yourself.
Yeah.
So unlike other hobbies and things where, it might require you buying something, like buying this or having to be a part of that drama, you can just show up and do it. So it was really accessible as well. And then in college, I took up psychology, A level. Really wanted to understand more about mental health. And around me and within my family, there were some members of mental health diagnosis, and I was really curious about what this is, what's this behavior, why might they be presenting this way. I wanted to understand them a little bit more, and then when I went to uni, I saw there was a drama therapy degree. I thought it was a degree, but I don't think there was, but there was a master's definitely. But I thought, I'm going to do drama, I'm going to keep it broad because you never know. And then in my third year, there was a module. I was really looking forward to doing the module. They cut the module. I was gutted. I was like, I want to know about drama therapy. And then I decided to do it for my dissertation. I actually travelled from Hull to London for a day to interview a drama therapist for my dissertation, back up to Hull because I had a night out I had to get to. Yeah. So, I had that work-life balance has always been there. And was really, really just so invested in that dissertation, so invested in learning about drama therapy. And then, yeah, so there was a master's, Roehampton, London based master's, and applied. And I was really lucky to get a conditional offer and then start kind of, yeah, within a year of graduating from my undergrad.
Mm.
Um, yeah, so the combination of drama, like when you go to watch a movie or when you go and see something and how it can make you feel, it can really evoke feelings within you, it can shift your perspective. Like to do that as a career and understand the psychology behind it. Um, yeah, it's like two of my passions in one. And
Mm.
I think it's for me such a, yeah, it's not as, I guess it's not as well known as regular psychotherapy or talking therapy, but we get to do the talking part, but we also get to do so many other things as well if
Yeah.
talking isn't accessible or if words aren't enough. So I'm, yeah.
Mm. There's so much to I guess unpack there. You mentioned going to study psychology because you had family members that were going through stuff and you noticed different things. How has learning psychology, I guess, helped you on your journey personally, and also being amongst, in the education system and having your tools now? How have all these things helped you to manage people and manage children?
To be fair, learning psychology at A level, it was all very, surface level kind of learning,
Yeah.
and it was a good insight, and it did help me understand kind of people around me a bit better. But I think what really helped me was the journey, the drama therapy masters,
Mm.
because with that you have to have your own supervision, you have to have your own therapy, and by doing my own therapy, doing the work myself, it's definitely been the biggest shift for me, and also helped me with my clients. So for me, my journey really was, yeah, doing my own therapy. And I think when I did my masters, um, I think I wasn't aware of how much of a personal journey it would be. I wasn't really prepared for that. I just thought you get your masters and then you do your job. I didn't
Yeah.
really know this whole personal process was going to be a part of it. And I think it was quite overwhelming. My experience was quite overwhelming, and parts of me probably didn't fully kind of dip. I was dipping my feet in and out, but I didn't really fully immerse myself
Yeah.
because of my own process. That was part of my process and my fears and my own things that I was carrying. And then after my masters, I carried on my therapy. And then I think from then on, because like sometimes when you learn to drive, you only really learn once you pass your test.
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
it's those kinds of things. Like, and I think sometimes that's kind of how we are as therapists. You know, that's when we start the work, or kind of going into the therapy world of being a therapist, it is a very different experience to your training. Um, and you are, more on your own doing it. So, as opposed to having a whole cohort around you, tutors, all of that. Yes, you have your clinical supervisor, and yes, you have your optional therapist, but apart from that, you are kind of doing it solo. Well, for my experience, I was, I'm 6 years in, and I still haven't worked with another drama therapist in my work. So it can be a very lonely profession as well, or any creative therapist, actually. Something I would love to do in the future. Um, but yeah, I think definitely the journey that the course offers, it offers a really insightful training, um, and it's definitely helped me to become a better version of myself, for sure.
Mm. And that's interesting because the next question was, what have you learned most about yourself from taking this approach? And you answered it perfectly just there. Um, Before I go into the next question, Vicky, you said something so
Mhm.
key, and I think that's maybe all therapists in all different approaches and modalities can, I guess, testify to, is the loneliness that comes with the work we do. Why is it, or what is it that, I guess I'd probably asking, why is there a loneliness? Why is there like an isolation? Why is it, you haven't worked with another drama therapist? Like, what do you think is missing? What do you think needs to happen just moving forward?
To be fair, a lot of places offer part-time because with creative therapies, we're against four other modalities. We're against, music, art, dance, movement, us, and then potentially play with children. So a service would love to have all of the therapists. So all they'll offer 2 days a week, 2 days a week, 2 days a week. So they've got all these variations that they can offer as a service, but you're only there 2 days a week and you don't see the rest of the creative therapists. The company that I work in, one of the other schools, they do have more than one creative therapist in their site. And I'm like, oh, that's incredible, and hopefully, there might be expansion, or I don't know. There's a lot of, obviously, with the government now changed, I don't know if that will open up more opportunities. I think raising more awareness around creative therapy and that the fact that it is a psychological therapy, and, the more understanding and awareness of what we do will hopefully help that. But I think ultimately, funding and finances and that's a nationwide kind of problem is probably what's preventing that from happening. But also in the flip side, a lot of drama therapists do prefer to work freelance, prefer to work privately. So they will opt for those part-time roles and then do their private work on the other days. So it's preference, really. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that definitely makes sense, and it would be so good to see a more collaborative process with the arts therapies, like the drama, the music, the dance, the play, just to see, how they can be cohesive. Because I was speaking to another therapist who is a dance therapist, and she was speaking on, it being new and the creative side of the therapy aspect is somewhat new to the world in a way, and the awareness of it isn't, there isn't much awareness about each of the creative side of the therapy, or creative side of therapy. So when do you think, or how long would you give it until, I guess, drama therapy or dance therapy or art therapy will be, I guess, fully recognized and have a greater awareness than it does now?
That's a good question. I feel there is maybe I feel like within the media, I think there's some films that have referenced art therapy. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know I've seen art therapy in a few films mentioned. I know that, it's tricky because I think there are spaces where these things can be made more aware, but there haven't been. A really good, I know this was another question, but I noticed that, I think, do you work for Self Space?
Yes, I do know, yeah.
Yes, you do. So I had a little look. So I honestly, I think it's amazing what they're doing. And I think I love following them and seeing their journey. But I noticed that two of both the founders were drama therapy trained, and a lot of the people they employ are drama therapists. But what I noticed is that it doesn't get mentioned. So that's a really big space that could really, highlight drama therapy. So things like that, where it's like there's little things that maybe could really open up, and maybe there are reasons why. There are, I don't know, reasons within that of why drama therapy isn't mentioned, but things like that, like big businesses or big companies that do have drama therapists, it's the perfect place for drama therapy to be kind of showcased and emphasized. But also within our organizations, within our British Association of Drama Therapists,
Yeah.
I think we definitely need to do more work around, um, doing our case studies, making sure that we have more research in the NICE guidelines. So there are some NICE guidelines,
Yeah.
approved evidence-based practice for drama therapy and for art therapy,
Yeah.
music therapy as well. Not sure about the others, but those sorts of things, yeah, we just got to keep working it, yeah,
Keep pushing the narrative, right?
yeah, definitely. And I guess, I think for schools and for children, people understand it, but I think people might not realize that actually it's just as beneficial for adults as well.
Yeah.
Um, and whatever way you want to call it, and however way you want to offer it, if you're HCPC registered and you're BADTHA registered, then you are a registered drama therapist, and drama therapy is a protected title. So only those who do the training can call themselves a drama therapist and can deliver drama therapy work, which is really important to add, because I know there's some things recently in the papers around psychotherapy and it not being regulated and all those things. So, again, my friend told me about the article and she was like, Vicky, we need to reply. We need to get the Guardian and know about drama therapy, because we are a protected psychotherapy offer. Like, and it's true. We these are things that as drama therapists or creative psychotherapists, we need to get involved and tell the world or tell the nation that we are an ethical, professional bodied profession, and especially in the times where people, unfortunately, especially during COVID, I read some stories about people being exploited and very vulnerable situations because these unregulated therapists were offering therapy. And, for someone, well, for like ourselves, it's really horrible to read those kinds of articles, because we do such incredible work, and it's not okay that people can just claim to be a therapist and offer, damaging support and cause more pain and more trauma. So yeah, I don't know how that also needs to be addressed in another podcast.
No, definitely. Well, you're so right in terms of, having these people who are unregulated and haven't done the training or done, their due diligence. It's definitely scary. And again, like you said, just people being exploited, and it's very hard to hear, especially because we are a part of the field. And ultimately, when one person is claiming to be a therapist, and it affects the entire field, because people then start to question. People don't really want to go to therapy. Then there's word of mouth telling people, this person done this, and then other people don't want to go to therapy anymore. So yeah, it's like a domino effect when these things happen. But yes, we won't go more into that. Definitely another episode for sure. Next question for you, Vicky, is and you can give me a specific example if you want, is for someone who doesn't know or has never done drama therapy before, but has decided to choose this modality because they feel like it's the best way they can express. Can you just tell the listeners, what does drama therapy help, or how does it what does it aid a client with?
Okay, well, firstly, the most important thing is no drama background or no drama experience is required. So you don't need to have any acting experience. You don't even have to be a huge fan of drama, because even if you don't think you like drama, I'm pretty certain you've watched a Netflix or you watch a TV show or you've gone to the cinema. That's still drama. So it's still a way that we can use work. You can use those stories within the work. So drama therapy essentially will be like any other therapy with a check-in, and that check-in can be a verbal check-in, it can be a non-verbal check-in. You can use You can use your body, you can use sound, you could use, at school, putty, Play-Doh, or cards. Sometimes if you don't know how to say the words, you could choose a card that might represent how you're feeling. And then do a bit of a warm up. So in the school, that might be a game, because as we know, children's developmental language is play. So in order to help them be engaged, feel comfortable, feel ready to do the session, we'll do some play, and then go into kind of like the main part of the session. And that really, we are a client-led therapy. So obviously, as a therapist, I'll bring some ideas, I'll bring some invitations,
Yeah.
and the client can accept the invitation or they can decline it, and we can go with whatever they feel comfortable to do. I think in terms of drama therapy, and supporting with, confidence, self-esteem, also with trauma, bereavement, that such a huge list. And I think going on the BADSA website will be a really help of who we can offer therapy to. It's just about, I think gaining a greater sense of self would probably be, the one that I feel like if you're coming here, what you might want to achieve is, we do a lot of parts work. So we do a lot of things around different parts of self, which is another training in itself that is actually part of an internal family systems approach. But within drama therapy, we can use, so when we talk about parts, we can use characters, we can use the metaphor. So a client might bring a story and bring characters, and using the metaphor, not really consciously aware that actually we're exploring parts of themselves through these characters.
Yeah.
And with drama therapy, you don't even have to share the pain that you might be in explicitly, but by using the story and using the characters, it will help them gain a better perspective of their experiences, process material through the container of play or of story. And what that can do, that can be really therapeutic and healing for them, but without directly talking about the trauma or directly talking about the challenge. And with children and with adults, that can be really hard to do.
Yeah.
So the distance, the aesthetic distance is what we call it, and the dramatic metaphor is also what we use, is giving the space for the material to be explored in a safe way. And if the client makes those connections and names that there, then of course we can explore that. But it's up to the client to bring that, rather than the therapist to, overanalyze and make assumptions. That's not our role. Our role is just to be alongside and to support with whatever might be within the space. And sometimes that can be a case of the same routine happening each week. Something's being played out. We don't know what it might be yet, but they need to play that out, and every week they need to come and they need to do that. And that's their way of processing something. And over time, together, we can kind of work out what that might be. And again, whether that be explicitly or not, but the shift in the play might be an indication that something has changed, something has shifted, has been processed. And it's not that we have to sit down and talk about it. It's just, it is.
Yeah.
So I hope that kind of gives a bit more of an understanding. But in terms of the word drama, I think sometimes there can be a bit of fear. I think people might think, I'm going to be put on the stage, you're going to make me do some improvisation. Like, no, not at all. It's an offer. But drama therapists do use art, do use play, do use music, movement within the work. And I'm sure the other modalities do cross over with what we do as well. So we're not, we're very open to adapting based on the client's needs. If there's a client who really engages with art materials, then I'll bring that in. That's a way in. And we can explore from there, maybe create a story using the art, using the paints. Then so it's every client I've worked with, it's a very different experience, because there's different needs. You can't, it wouldn't feel it wouldn't be client led if every intervention looked exactly the same.
Mm. There was one, you said so much that was so key and powerful. I think the one thing that stood out to me, and I guess I started to look at it for myself, was the aesthetic distance.
Yeah,
Um,
that's it. Yeah.
yeah, it as you were saying and explaining it, I could just feel like me sitting here, just like my shoulders, like just relaxing, and like my guard coming down. It just feels like there's like you said, if it was just a normal session, a talkative session, and a therapist has to probe and ask questions. This just sounds like when you have a character, or you have someone or something that you can relate to, and you can be within that container. You said it felt like a very kind of, I don't know, a freeing moment. That's what I took from it. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's how I was taking it as you were explaining.
No, definitely. I love the response that you had as well. Like that hopefully mirrors some of the experiences of our clients as well, knowing that they don't have this pressure to sit and talk and
Mm-hmm.
tell me everything.
Yeah.
That's not what it's about. And yeah, I think it can be really um really healing just knowing that there's no pressure in that and that we can use something that they really enjoy.
Yeah.
So using a story or a book, anything that a client really enjoys, because then they can look forward to the session because they have more to share about that and we can expand on that. Um, yeah, but thank you for sharing your response.
Yeah, no, it was literally as you're saying, I was just picturing myself and just going through the motion as if I was in a session myself. So no, thank you for sharing that. That was so powerful. And I'm sure the listeners will definitely go through that same process too. Next question for you, Vicky. Where do you see, and I think you answered this a little bit, but maybe
Mm.
expand on it a bit more. Where do you see the creative side of therapy going?
Yeah, I felt like I did. I got very ahead of myself and touched upon it kind of mainly with my previous answer.
Yeah.
So again, I feel like as our professional bodies or our supportive associations, definitely doing more to kind of raise that awareness. I really hope with the new government that there might be more scope for more therapists and understanding of creative therapists as well. Um, yeah, I feel like I've kind of answered most of what I
You
was going to
pretty
say. Yeah. Yeah, because I've just literally said about using metaphor, using story. And there are, I have a friend who's actually a creative counselor. So she's not a drama psychotherapist, she's a creative counselor, but she uses creativity within her work. And that
Yeah.
is great. So it's 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 even when you say the creative side of therapy, I
Mm.
think there are other modalities of therapy that are being creative.
Yeah.
And it is really, I think, for this again, just my experience, if my only tool was my voice,
Mm.
I think I'd get a bit sick of myself. I think I am, yeah. And sometimes even in the session, sometimes just being in the silence sometimes could be really powerful. And I think working with neurodiverse pupils as well, talking. If I notice sometimes when I'm talking a lot, I'm like, okay, I notice I'm talking a little bit now. Should we move on to something else, or should we, because it's a lot for them to process. And I'm neurotypical, so I'm talking in a very neurotypical way, and obviously adapting to their needs. I'm very mindful that I adapt to their needs, but I'm still, the way that my brain processes is different. So I need to offer things that can meet their needs, and sometimes talking for 30, 40, 50 minutes
Mm-hmm.
is very overwhelming. So
And
yeah, bringing music in, if they enjoy listening to music, let's break the session up. Let's share a song how you might be feeling right now. And I think any therapist could do that. Any therapist can use, bring song into their work and help ground the client with something that again they enjoy. Um, yeah.
no, that's I fully agree with you. Using all tools to, again, like you said, tailor the session to the client that you're working with and building upon that. And like you said, just making sure we give our best, and the client is able to draw from so many different things if it's presented to them. So no, I definitely agree with you. This question is off script. Do you think within the education system that a therapist or therapists should be something that is essential within a school system or institute, for the well-being of the children and also the staff?
Definitely. Definitely. I'm still, I know the manifesto of this current government has pledged to have, a therapist in each school.
Yeah.
And we just got to see if that happens, because I'm very lucky in my school. We have a lot of, across the company, we do have a very, very big therapy team, and that's what I really enjoy about working in a therapeutic school, that I'm not on my own. I do have a team. As I said, I manage a team. Yes, they're not creative therapists, but they're still therapists, and it's really great to learn new skills, learn about occupational therapy, learn about speech and language therapy. I didn't train in those modalities, so I don't know. I'm not an expert in them, and it's good to have that awareness of how other therapies support, the sensory and social communication needs of our pupils. But definitely, I think even for mainstream, I've worked schools. There's such a big need for therapists. They have, a lot of mainstream schools have a SEN provision, so there are children who do need that extra support, and even the ones who aren't in that provision, anyone could benefit from therapy. And in terms of staffing, yeah, it's really hard for teachers. From It's really hard just for teachers in general. They, hats off to them. And they also need that support. And although we're not their therapists, we can offer therapeutic support. And within my school, I do actually offer bi-weekly, clinical reflections for staff. So that's another offer that I do. But in a clinical setting, that would be also kind of mandatory for the clinical staff. And I think when we work in quite a intense environment,
Yeah.
they do need that space to kind of unpick and process some of the challenges that they've gone through. And over the years that I've worked in my setting, I have really seen the shift in therapy for both the pupils and the staff, because there can be a stigma around therapy, whether that be their own personal feelings, it could be culturally. There's loads of different factors that can play into the stigma of therapy, and then add the layer of drama on top, the stigma of drama. So yeah, it's really nice to see or be a part of a shift, of a change, and help people to know that having therapy support it's okay. It doesn't, it's there to benefit you, and it's not. Again, as a therapist working in a school supporting staff, I'm not here to be a therapist and sit and ask them about all their troubles. Again, it's more about them. We reflect on that.
Definitely. No, thank you for the answer. I could definitely see the shift happening. And I really do hope, like you said, the government do implement that plan, because it is needed. It is needed the day-to-day for the staff, the day-to-day for the kids, or children, I should say, and everyone involved within a school structure or college or university. Speak to me, Vic, on if you wasn't a therapist, what would you be doing?
So yeah, I don't really. There's so many things I probably would have in mind.
Yeah.
Probably something to do with travel, but then I do love. I get kind of, I want to kind of create my home comforts. So travel, but nothing that requires traveling for long periods of time,
Mhm.
maybe something with animals, but definitely not anything to do with kind of the vet side of things, because the kind of, yeah, that side wouldn't be as I don't know, being a vet again, hats off to them. Just I have a friend who's a vet, and yeah, it's a tough gig. And then also something I think with events, I'm very organized. I'm a very organized individual. I
Yeah.
think something that requires organizing things, organizing someone or something, or yeah, I think. And also I do quite envy the option to maybe have one, if maybe two work from home days. That would be a dream. So maybe a job that's a bit more hybrid. Just
Mm.
even just a day, I find you just get a lot. For me, I work a lot better. Um, I get more work done when I'm by myself in a room with no one else there. But I wouldn't
Mhm.
want to do that 5 days a week, because
Of course.
I'm an extrovert. I like to connect with people. So that one day just to focus, get everything done, and then the rest of the week be around people, be around the busyness. And yeah, and I said with animals, then I'm hoping to train my dog into a therapy dog. So yeah, might be able to do something with animals and my work.
Mm. Speak more on that, Vic, if you don't mind. Training your dog to be a therapy dog. What does that entail? And yeah, give us a bit more on that, please.
Yeah. So they have to go through a specific training
Mm.
to make sure that they are safe to be with a client in the room. So they have to go through some tests and things like that, like how they manage in certain situations.
Yeah.
And then they are registered and they are insured. And then once you have that insurance, you can take your animal of choice, which would be a dog for me, into your workplace. And obviously, as a therapist, you don't have to be a therapist to have a therapy dog.
Mm.
Um, but obviously being a therapist, that really helps. So it means that I can use my dog in my session if they just need that, um, extra support, or find pets grounding, find them regulating.
Mm.
Then my dog would come into the session and assist in whichever way. I don't know extensive amount about it because I haven't started really researching the training yet. But my old supervisor, she had a therapy dog, and yeah, it's just another. Obviously, some people don't like dogs, so it might not work. But for those who do like dogs, and he's a very big dog, so they'll have to like big dogs too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just adds to the therapy offer, and canine therapy is its own therapy as well.
Mm.
Some schools offer that as their own service, as a service in itself.
Mm. Wow. I've heard about it briefly, but not in, I guess, the extent that you just explained it. So no, thank you for sharing that. I think there is such healing when it comes to animals. Like I know there's therapy to do with horses, and you mentioned
Mm,
dogs, and
mm.
yeah, that's definitely something that I've seen. But thank you so much for sharing that. I think that's very interesting. I'd love to see the development of that and what that brings. Vic, I'm gonna throw some rapid fire questions at you, just so our listeners can get
Mhm.
a broader sense of who you are. Um, what's your favorite season and why?
My favorite season is summer. And why? Because I'm an autumn winter baby, and I feel like we crave the sun. Yeah, I don't. As I've got older,
Mm.
I kind of appreciate this romantic view of autumn, because lots of people think it's really romantic and they love it. And before I used to really hate it, like, no, I'm born in November. I don't get to have a nice birthday. It's always raining.
Mm.
But now I'm older, I do get it, but I still love nothing better than the sun hitting my skin,
Mm.
feeling the warmth, being in the sun, getting that glow, and chilling out. And I think because I do struggle to switch off and to chill,
Yeah.
but I have a hammock in my garden, So lying in my hammock in the sun for me is not the same as lying in front of the TV. It's a
Mm,
different chill.
yeah.
So I would do that for hours. Whereas if I'm lying in front of the TV, which I still do for hours at times, but I will kind of feel this, oh, I need to be doing something else. I need to be cleaning. I need to do all the other things before I can do the lying in front of the telly. But the hammock can be a whole day, you know, chill during the summer holidays.
Yeah.
That's fine. As long as the sun's out, then
Yeah.
it's worth it. Then it makes sense. Whereas if the sun's not out, then it's not it's not as much use of my time.
Right. Right. Um, what's another one? Books or movies?
Oh my gosh, that's a hard one. I'm really bad with films,
Mhm.
but I wouldn't say I I read I'm always reading a book, but at my pace. That's a hard one.
Yeah.
It depends. I feel like, yeah, I've never been asked that question, I don't think. So, well, I'll probably have to say films.
Films? Do you have a
Probably
do
have to say films.
you have a favorite film or?
Uh, well, the thing is, both for books and films, anything psychological thrillers, I'm
Right.
there,
Okay.
obviously.
Yeah.
I always, but favorite film, do you know what? I always say Batman Dark Knight, and I still can't shift that from when
Mm.
I was a teenager. So I'm still gonna say that. Yeah.
No, that's an incredible film. I mean, we can speak about Heath Ledger for days. We can speak about Christian Bale.
Ah,
We can speak about just the cast itself was phenomenal. I mean,
mhm.
the actor that played Two-Face, Aaron Eckhart, he was incredible too. I think he doesn't get much credit because obviously Heath Ledger's Joker was the 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 main attraction, if you want to say that way. But no, that's an incredible choice. So yeah, I give you props for that. Last one. Um, if you had a superpower, Vic, what would it be?
I've had this one a lot, being in a drama, in yeah, that's it. And every time I feel like it changes. So I think superpower. I think I would now. I think the one that's coming to my mind is flying. So I think I would be able to fly, so I can just go on holiday whenever I want
Yeah.
and not have to worry about all the stuff of flying and traveling. Yeah, I think flying, and could fly not like, yeah, kind of not teleporting, but flying. I guess that is teleporting, isn't it? If you're flying really quickly,
Yeah.
essentially, that's
Essentially,
it. Yeah,
fly,
yeah.
fly.
And then I could just go anywhere whenever I want, and I can
Mm,
leave work later
yeah.
and have more sleep in the morning.
That's a great choice. That is a great choice. Vicky,
I've always lived as a flying.
Vicky, where can people find you? What's the best links or website or?
So as I said, BADTA, which is the British Association of Drama Therapists,
Yeah.
that is the official website where anyone who is BADTA registered can be found. So not just myself, if you're interested in drama therapy, but you want to have a little look and see if there's people around, then the BADTA website is where to go. And then also on Instagram, I am at Drama Therapy Wellbeing. And I started up in lockdown to connect with others. And since then, it's been great because I've connected with so many therapists and so many people who've never heard of drama therapy. Even one person said that since following me, they actually want to now train as a drama therapist, which was really incredible. So,
That is incredible. Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, at Drama Therapy Wellbeing and British, British Association of Drama Therapists.
Mm, what can people expect from you in like the next year or so? Any conferences, any events you're putting on, or?
So I'm actually part of the British Association British the BADFA education subcommittee.
Okay.
So that means that because I work in education, I'm on the committee, and we performed at our conference last year. Our conference just happened this year, but it was online. There is an international drama therapy conference happening next May, which I'm quite interested to go to. But in terms of what the education subcommittee are doing, we are going to be start doing more things for drama therapists. So, because again, even within the drama therapy world,
Mm.
it's good for us to also, plug what we're doing within that, because there still needs to, still kind of figuring out how we best reach that communication to its optimal level.
Yeah.
So we'll be doing some, hopefully doing some workshops, and who knows if they get expanded further. I think, we'll have to watch this space for now,
Yeah.
but there's definitely lots of plans and ideas, and we're very passionate about, raising awareness of what we do, and also supporting the trainees, supporting other drama therapists, and hopefully maybe expanding that out further beyond drama therapy.
Mm. Amazing, amazing. Vicky, thank you so much for your time today. I wish you nothing but the best in your practice, in work, and your entire journey within the drama therapy and creative side of things. You've tuned in with the Check-In With podcast with myself, Calvin Anderson, and Vicki Hickling. Take care, and we'll speak to you soon.
Thank you so much.